All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the April 14th, 2025, Thornapple Township Board meeting to order. You all please rise and join me in invocation. Lord, may the discussions we share and decisions we make this evening reflect your leadership and your influence in our lives. I also ask that you look after our sheriff in his time of grief. I can't imagine what he's going through. Amen. Will you all please join me with the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Diane, can you roll call?
Yes, Schaefer,
Here.
Bouchard. Here. Campbell,
Here.
Dimash.
Yep.
Stanton.
Here.
Rarig. Here. Ordway. Here.
All right, we're on to number 4, approval of the printed agenda. There are some copies in there with yellow on them. The agenda changed substantially today. Left thought everything was good Thursday, and during the course of the day today, we identified a lot of things that we needed to get in here for this meeting. So I would like to amend the agenda. I would like to leave letter F blank for now. Letter G is going to be February 19th special meeting minutes. Letter H is going to be the March planning and zoning report. Letter I is going to be the 2025-2026 meeting schedule. J is going to be EMC insurance. K is going to be our cyber insurance policy. There's also going to be an attachment under letter C that was at the tables, and also an attachment for letter D, which is for the scheduling of fire department employees. So I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion with support to approve the agenda as amended. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, we're on to approval of the consent agenda. And I was told that there was a item in the regular meeting minutes of March 10th that needs to be addressed. Just a change in verbiage, not anything substantial, but I would like to move that to new business F. With that, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that one.
Motion with support to approve the consent agenda as amended. Diane, can you roll call? Or are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Diane, can you roll call?
Okay, Bouchard. Yes. Campbell,
Yes.
Dimash.
Yep.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Stanton,
Yes.
Rarig. Yes. Ordway.
Yes.
All right. Number 6, for information only, there's also draft planning commission meeting minutes of March 24th, 2025. And those are still in the draft form, but just for your information. We are on to number 7, the first public comment. The only caveat is I ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment? Okay. We are on to number 8, our calendar report, and we've got dual commissioners in this meeting.
We like to travel in pairs for safety.
She's the one that protects me.
I'll hand these out. These are just annual report that we got from our solid waste recycling coordinator. So it's kind of neat to see the numbers in there and how they add up over the year. As you heard me say, that now is materials management planning, shifted from solid waste oversight committee. So new name, a little bit of a refocus, more on reducing the stream that's entering the landfills. So I'll let you go and then I'll fill in.
Okay. At our meetings, we reclassified personnel in the public defender's office and revised their job descriptions. Revised job descriptions for the assistant prosecutor and senior assistant prosecutor and reclassified them. We abolished our solid waste oversight committee and went to the new one, which is what?
Materials management planning.
We adopted a new sick leave, but I think everybody in the county had. Approved changes in the personnel policies related to setting wages for and promoted for non-union employees. We approved a resolution to put into, for 2 grants for the Bailey Natural Preserve and for Charlton Park. The Natural Preserve was through Natural Resources Grant and Charlton Park was through Passport Grants. Adopted a resolution to establish a property assessed clean energy program. And that's where, you gotta help me on this one, Catherine.
Pace.
Yeah, PACE, and they can get a loan from PACE, and it goes on in a tax assessment, and they pay it as a tax assessment, but it's for better energy use.
It's for certain construction practices, high efficiency furnaces, windows, insulation, those kinds of things. If they meet certain criteria through the PACE program, they qualify for these low interest loans. But the weird thing about this, and that we had several meetings about it, was that it is placed as an assessment on the tax roll. And they've had good success across the country with these. It's completely voluntary, so the group that's interested in is the Royal Coach Development Project across from the plaza in Hastings. And so they're building 135 apartments there, and they would like to, as part of their financing package. So they want to take advantage of these loans and increase the energy efficiency of the apartments.
Just to finish up on that, I was a no vote on it, on the cow. But on the Board of Commissioners, on the final vote, I was a yes, because I went around to 3 different banks and a couple of credit unions and got their feel of it. And any of them couldn't find any fault with it. So I had to change my vote. We abolished the jury board. That was also a no vote on my side. The computer's going to do it now, and I'm not fond of computers. So I think there should be a person you can go to when things go wrong. But we put Kristen Lawball, Courtney Zinni, and Jeffrey Knatz on the Mental Health Board, and Stacy Graham back on the Zoning Board of Appeals. We approved a Berry County Courts contract with Pine Rest for a therapist for services for court-involved individuals. And we had presentations that come in and gave excellent talks. Rachel France on our solid waste, and Gino Lucci, the new manager of the airport, come in and gave a presentation, and it was very good. And the airport is very well used, and there's a waiting list to get in there. What did I miss?
Danielle Zollner came in and gave an update from the Berry Conservation District. about the spongy moth or gypsy moth caterpillar. And they're not recommending treatment this year, that the populations seem to be in decline. Now, there may be some areas that still are on the uptick, so some isolated areas may see a lot of activity and defoliation. They have a very nice website that they developed. I think it just does an excellent job. It's very concise. It gives treatment options for individuals of what they can do if they have problems on their own property. And the Conservation District is just a great resource for folks. If, so if you hear from your constituents that they, are having trouble with gypsy moth, definitely direct them to that website. And then Danielle Zollner is their new executive director. She's very helpful. And then we appointed a jail committee. I can't believe that's the one thing
You and I missed that.
I had it on my list.
Yeah, but we're not on it. That's a good part.
Yeah. So quite a list of folks that are going to be taking a look at the jail and how to evaluate what we have, what we need, whether it's going to be in the current location or if it's a new location. So quite a group of folks, of commissioners, but law enforcement representatives from the jail, the corrections staff, some at-large members of the court,
Even.
mental health.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good list, and the fact that it doesn't include either of us. And this will interest you guys. We pulled a property off of PA 116. That never happened the whole time I was here. Somebody pulled their property or a portion of it with the house and barns out of the PA 116 agreement. And there's criteria for that. They have to pay some taxes back. But we did complete that process. So I think we'd had questions about that in the past. There is a mechanism to pull those out if they, want to release property before the end of the term. And so we're going through that at the county. No. If it was in your township, you would have to do it. And go through that process, but it's good to know. I mean, so our new planning and zoning director, Jeff Kiesler, is going through that process on this property.
He says it's not all bad because that pulls that, I can't remember what he said, 2 or 3 acres with the barns and everything out of PA 116, puts it back on the tax roll at full purchase price here. So.
Yep. Any questions?
John, has any decision been made on the Berry County Dispatch Board?
Yes, they did not notify you?
No.
They didn't tell me to either, but there was, I believe, 4 people ran.
Oh, okay.
And one of them got 6 votes. That was Pete from Johnstown Township. There was 2 of them got 2 votes and one got 1 vote.
Okay.
No,
So Pete done?
Pete Dunn, yes.
Okay.
And Pete is very well known in the southern part of the county. He was a fire chief down there for years. So when he decided to run, I figured their townships would back him.
Did you?
So, but thank you very much for running, Sandy. I appreciate that from up here.
Those are your job, both of your doing.
All right, thank you. We're on to reserve time with Andrew Beck from the Lions Club.
Hello, I'm Andrew Beck. I'm with the Lions Club. I'm here tonight to just talk a little bit about fireworks, 4th of July events and the fireworks show. Every 3 years I come back and we just kind of hash it out and see what people are feeling. Are we going in the direction that you guys like? Open to good and bad criticism. I'll just start with what a typical 4th of July day looks like. We'll start at 9 o'clock down by the pavilion. There'll be bounce houses for kids. and a DJ playing music. I'll be working with the new DDA. They have a new title for her. I'm going to use the word director, Cassandra Clark. We're going to be working with her to try to get the businesses to either one, be open and for longer, and two, to help provide entertainment, sidewalk chalk, bubbles, little kid tattoos, things of that sort. That usually lasts till about noon. That's kind of the standard, but working with businesses, it might go a little longer. Hopefully we'll go longer. Then it kind of slows down in the afternoon. So it's kind of a lull in the afternoon. Kids usually go home, take naps or eat lunch or whatever families choose to do on the holiday. At 6 o'clock at night, there's a live band up at the ASO soccer fields with 4 hours of them playing, and there's 4 hours of laser tag, archery tag, and axe throwing, and that's all free to the public. The church also brings a very large inflatable bounce house. It's more of a bounce fountain, and yeah, it's really big. So that's really cool. The numbers of spectators is growing. We say around 3,000, but families are learning about it and showing up, and due to the free events, more and more are coming. That's what it's a big draw. To put it on though, I'm guessing this year will cost us about $15,730. Now that's involvement from the township, the DDA, and the village. So with that being said, in the past, it's been $3,000 that you guys have committed to the Lions Club per year for 3 years. I was hoping that we could maybe bump that up to 4,000. That still puts us right at the mark with the village, the DDA, and the township, and a couple of small businesses that help out. That still puts us really close to being off by the almost $16,000. We're only off by about just under $2,000. The village or the Lions Club has a running balance of $6,000 in our account from past events, and that has become that because some years the dumpsters will be free or porta potties were free. The band didn't cost as much, so we've tried to keep about a fireworks show, which is $7,000 set aside, so that if there is an off due to the pandemic, due to inflation and whatever tariffs we're going to face nowadays. So it's not the number that we're asking for. I don't believe is reaching too far. I believe that it still keeps it as cost efficient for everybody and free to our community. That's pretty much the gist of my whole spiel. Are there any questions or comments or?
You beat the bushes with the businesses to get contributions?
Yes, sir. And through the years, we've had about 3 businesses that have stuck with us. But due to the economy, businesses had to decline at times.
Are you asking for 1 year or for 3 years?
3 year, what we've done in the past year, so I think this year will make year 8 or 9. And so what we've done is we've tried to do a 3-year commitment so that it's not just a bill that you guys are just redundantly paying and not really knowing what's going on with it. So hopefully me being here, I can answer any hard questions or finances so that everybody knows exactly where your dollars are, where the taxpayers' dollars are going.
I assume you would have to have ambulances, fire trucks, EMS on site.
Yes, ma'am. I've already spoke with Chief and about having fire personnel on location during the fireworks show. Part of that too, a safer thing we've done is we used to handlight all the fireworks. Now we have a company that's going to come in and do it. It'll all be done electronically. They're insured. I have all that paperwork. We also, it usually takes about 20 of us to light off all that many fireworks. But a few of us are gonna stick around and make sure it's all going as designed. We always have our own fire safety crew of people with buckets of water or power sprayers, things of that sort.
I honestly, I don't know how you saw the fuses half the time, with all this smoke down there. Last year was incredible.
You have to be close.
If we were to put this on the agenda for May for approval, is that or for vote, is that too late?
Oh, that should be fine. Yeah, like we could invoice if that's the direction we're going still, then, yeah, by that point, May, early June. Because we're using a fireworks company, but we're literally getting it at the same price that we purchased fireworks. We were getting a deal because we buy $23,000 worth of fireworks. We were only paying $7,000 for all of those fireworks. That's why the show is 40 minutes with a 10-minute grand finale on the end.
It's one of those buy one, get four free deals.
Correct, absolutely. And just big ones. And so now we've talked with this company and said, hey, you guys could definitely make this safer for everybody, doing it electronically. And so yeah, they've committed to what we've been paying for fireworks. So it's not an added cost, but it is a way that we think it'll just be safer. So it won't maybe be as intense, but these are also Class B fireworks, so they're much larger.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Andrew?
Would you like me, do I need to attend that meeting then? And,
You are welcome to come,
all right,
but I'll make sure I draft up an agenda request for that. Write it down.
all right. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
All right, we also had reserved time for Steve Schultz. He's the one when we had our special meeting before Duncan Lake Sewer Authority. That was the letter for the feed grant. He was gonna come in and speak to us some more, but I didn't follow up with him. That was the original plan, so maybe I should have sent him an email last week, but I didn't. So with that, we'll continue on to number 10, emergency services report. Chief.
Thank you. So our call volume was a little bit slower this last month. We only did 24 paid on-call responses. Our regular EMS volume was a little bit lower also than usual, but so we had 4 structure fires during that period of time with an average of 9 people. The last structure fire that we just had actually was this month, but I'd like to give a shout out to the crews. We ended up flowing over 24,000 gallons of water that night, and we never lost water pressure the whole time. We had our 6,000 gallons on scene immediately. It was a 100 by 40 pole barn, and when I pulled up, there were flames shooting out of the east side of the building, about 6 or 8 feet out of the main door. The guy had just bought a brand new Shelby Cobra Mustang, and he told the police that they were gonna have to shoot him to stop him from going in that barn and getting him. So he left the barn door open, which caused a nice,
Oxygen.
yeah, it opened it up pretty nicely, but crews did a great job. We dropped a 2.5 on the ground. We were flowing 500 gallons and then and never lost water for like the first 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're on and off water. But barn's still standing. But no one got hurt. And
And the Shelby made it?
what's that?
The Cobra made it?
Cobra made it. The good news is he has 6 other ones. So in another garage. So I just apparently didn't have enough room in the Mustang garage to fit it in. But yeah, crews did an amazing job. I I want to thank Brad Bender for helping me do the origin and cause investigation. We were able to identify that it was from a lightning strike a couple of days before and some resistance heating through the ground in the building. And we had the insurance company's investigator come out and said that he agreed with our origin and cause investigation. So that was good. But yeah, crews did a really, really good job. It was kind of a long night, but pretty amazing not to lose any water pressure with that much water flowing and no hydrants. So we also have the, I don't know if anyone's seen, but Rock the Country is coming in June. That's going to be quite a disturbance to Middleville, I believe. I'm thinking that, telling my wife maybe she wants to go visit her parents during that weekend. We're going to be pretty busy. We're putting 4 ambulances on because of the 30,000 people influx that is coming. And they're having people camping on site, and we're concerned about the alcohol and drug use that might be ensuing there. I think it's going to be a very, very busy 2 days. So we're doing a lot of pre-planning. Patrick is the emergency manager, and we're having another meeting this week about it. But it should be very interesting of how things should go on. Just traffic flow in itself into Hastings and Middleville will be pretty incredible. The Mid-Villa project is underway, and I want to give Nate Ibora kind of a shout out. He called me. We kind of verbally agreed, I never had him sign anything, that he'd go above and beyond the code requirements. His contractor called up and said that they didn't need to do some things. I said, this is what we agreed to. Nate called me within the day and said, I agreed to it, we'll do it. It's gonna cost like $45,000 extra to do it, but that's what's gonna make it safe for you guys, and that's what you want, that's what we'll do. So in my 30 years of being in this business, this is the first time I've had a developer not sneak out of something that he hasn't signed to and going above the code to make it safer for the residents here. So I was pretty impressed with that. I think that's about it that I have, other than what I submitted already.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Number 11, unfinished business, retirement contribution. We have a personnel and compensation committee scheduled for May 7th to talk about that. On to number 12, new business. We have agenda request for turnout gear storage. Chief, would you like to speak to that?
Yep, so I'll apologize because we had a fire officers meeting on last Monday, so there's quite a few agenda requests. So right now we have people storing their gear on the floor, just hopped up on each other because we don't have enough gear lockers for people. This is a double-sided gear locker that's on wheels, so we can put it in between the apparatus. So it gives us 8 more places for gear, so people don't have to have their gear laying on the floor. That's pretty much it. It's not anything super special, but we don't have more wall space to put more wall lockers up.
All right,
I'm sorry, do I wait till?
let's make a motion. I'd be happy to entertain a motion to purchase a turnout gear storage locker.
I'll make that motion, not to exceed $2,200.
Second.
Motion with support to purchase a turnout gear storage locker. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Oh, yes. It's been a long day. Budget line 403, is that capital?
Improvements.
Okay, gotcha. That was it.
That's it?
Yep.
Any further questions, comments, or concerns? All right, hearing none. Diane, can you roll call?
Dimash?
Yep.
Rarig?
Yes.
Ordway?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Stanton?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
All right, we're on to new business B, and that is a agenda request for turnout gear purchase. And Chief?
Back to me, thank you. So we have an individual that was a paid-on-call member at Wayland. He is no longer on Wayland's fire department, but this individual is a little over 6'8". And to find, and he has like a size 18 boot. So to find gear that fits him is really challenging. They bought the gear in 2023. They paid like over $4,500 for the gear, and then they bought the boots. The chief of Wayland said, "There's nothing we can do with this gear. I know he's working for you. Would you be interested in purchasing said gear? Or it's gonna just sit in our gear room for the rest of its life." So he offered to sell it to us for $1,750, and which is a bargain for fire gear. It'd be either that or we're gonna have to find gear to fit him, which will be very challenging. And Wayland's been really great. They're letting us use it still. That we're borrowing it on the days that he worked for us part-time. And they have not taken it back from us. We still have it. So he's been pretty gracious, letting us use it, but they would like something to get something out of it.
Hey, what is the usable life?
10.
10 years,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Yeah.
Does the guy still work? for us?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I have a feeling if you go somewhere else, we'll be making a deal.
Your problem.
That's right.
So I would be happy to entertain a motion to approve the purchase of turnout gear from Wayland Fire.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Go ahead.
I'll support. Motion with support to purchase turnout gear from Wayland Fire. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Diane, can you roll call?
Rarick,
Yes.
Ordway,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Stanton,
Yes.
Imaj.
Yes.
Okay, we're on to new business C, which is capital item purchase. And there's an attachment that should be there for everyone to see. To see the proposed cost of said items that are on this purchase. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve. Well, Chief, would you like to speak to this?
Sure. I spoke about this when we were doing the budgeting process, so I'm hoping that tariffs haven't affected the pricing too much. But these are all items that we had pre-planned for the last year that are needs for the department. There's some more, but I put some grants in for some of the other ones, so I'm waiting to see if any of those come to fruition.
Okay.
Bill, would you tell them about the power cut and load? Didn't you get a deal on that?
Yeah, so as long as they haven't sold it, I don't think they have. We need a power load for one of our ambulances, and they're normally $35,000. He has a demo that they used at an event that they're selling for $10,000 off. So it's normally 35 and should be around 25,000.
Okay, with that, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve the purchase of the budgeted capital improvement items.
I'll make that motion.
You have to say that, not just.
Oh, not to exceed $41,100.
Not to exceed $41,100.
Second.
Motion with support to approve the purchase of budgeted capital improvement items for a cost not to exceed $41,100. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Diane, can you roll call?
Ordway,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Stanton,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Imaj.
Yep.
Rarick.
Yes.
All right. We're on to new business D, which is a request for scheduling. Chief, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, so we have had as I've mentioned a lot of times, the fire service with having part-time employees is kind of transient. People come and go, and we're in a flux of people leaving. We had 2 people get full-time jobs, 1 person retiring, and a 3rd person is waiting to see what the vote is tonight to take full-time job. The majority of our staff that are part-time, because we've got 21 paramedics now, work 1 to 2 days a month. So to cover all the shifts that we need to cover, I need to have probably 20 more people. And then most of those people are already working weekends, so it's amazing how little weekend availability people have, especially in the summertime. So at the officers meeting, we discussed a lot of different ways where we could try to augment staffing and hiring 2 paramedics for 12-hour shifts to give them a consistent schedule, and this could be their full-time job, was the only thing we could think of to cover all the shifts. Right now, we've been having our full-time people covering quite a few shifts, and last month we had one weekend that is partially due to the influenza A break in our station that flowed through. But we had one weekend that we only could maintain 1 ambulance for the weekend. That's the first time in probably 2 years that we've gone down to 1 ambulance. So, so we came up with this to have day shifts positions to make sure we have consistency of having paramedics there every day, secondary ambulance paramedics on it.
Okay. And then the attachment that you handed out.
Yeah, the only thing that's new on that hasn't been approved is that the pay scale is different because they work 12-hour shifts and not 24s. So their hourly rate is different. If you see their hourly rate, it's almost identical with the hourly rate they are working now. The difference is we're gonna have to pay some benefits, depending on whoever takes the position. But below that, it shows what, on the very last line, it shows what, if they work their 42 hours in a paid period, what their annual salary would be with no extra overtime.
So those salary numbers are for 42 hours per 2 weeks.
Yeah, they work 36 1 week, 48 the next.
Oh, okay.
If you look at
Yeah.
there's that attachment that shows the rotation. That's kind of the hospital rotation. The police department uses that kind of rotation
Yeah.
for 12-hour shifts.
Okay, I'm gonna read this recommendation once.
Okay.
I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve the hiring of 2 full-time paramedic firefighters. We have 20 paramedics currently working on the roster, but with the recent transition of 2 of our regularly scheduled medics taking full-time positions and 1 who averages 2 to 3 shifts weekly is retiring. The remainder of our 17 paramedics, 7 are full-time and 10 are part-time. The remaining 10 paramedics work only 1 to 2 days a month and have limited to no weekend availability. To maintain operational readiness, we need to have consistency assuring staffing levels of all units. With the hiring of 2 full-time paramedic firefighters, we'll be able to accomplish operational readiness. I'd be happy to entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll support.
That's a scary one.
Good motion with support. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
I
This is a full-time salary position, including benefits. Okay. We got it covered, huh?
We do.
just have a couple of questions, and I guess maybe what you put on here for an agenda request could be a little more numbers to it. I know you just talk about benefits, and I think we should say it's either gonna be 6,000 or it's gonna be 29,000 a year for benefits, depending on who we get. But then we'll have to go and do a budget amendment for it after they're hired and we know what kind of insurance they need. So I think just so we know ahead of time, agreeing with this, we will have to do amendments for the.
Well, insurance is probably one of the most challenging things because thankfully, most of our employees don't take it. If we had all of a sudden a decision of all the employees who take family plans, I don't know if we could maintain the staffing we have. So that's one of my biggest fears is we have such an expensive insurance plan that it makes it very challenging. Almost feel like in the interview process, so, does your spouse work? Does your spouse have a job?
I don't think we can do that.
No, you can't, I'm just kidding. So yes, it does make it very challenging, but at any point, some of the people who we have hired could change their mind and go onto the insurance where we'd have to make those budget adjustments. Thankfully, looking at the budget and looking at our cash flow that we bring in monthly, we should be able to absorb this without any real big problems. The board hasn't decided, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but with the Rutland Township proposal, the call volume isn't going to be inundating to the department, but should bring in enough money to cover two people's insurance if the board approves it tonight. So it would be good timing if we needed to have two people with insurance. The Rutland Township call volume should accommodate that in itself.
So how many, if you were to have these two people, how many full-time people would like to work on a day, or how many ambulance would you have it like on a normal day? Would you
So
have
on a
two?
normal day, we, during the week, we have 3 staffed, 4 if I'm. So if all the ambulances go out, I call people who live in the township to come and babysit me on the ambulance. And we'll be the 4th out ambulance. But Monday through Friday, we have 3 on. And then every day we have 2. One's on for 24 hours a day and one's on till 8 o'clock at night. Our call time about 8, 9 o'clock at night really just kind of drops off. But we are, every month I'm evaluating where our call volume is and what our hours. Even if I have to stagger our shifts, eventually I would do that. But currently 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night is what we do for our 12-hour ambulance, paramedic ambulance.
And these two full-time people will basically take the hours of part-time people you have just all over the schedule.
Yeah, and 2 of our people that we have currently, they make $38 an hour. So it is bringing some of the hourly rate down, but when you figure a family plan is like $14 and something cents an hour, you take their hourly, add into an hourly rate on a 24-hour basis. It can make that challenging, so.
We had talked also about when our new figures come out for the medical insurance in July, that we have to probably look at a potential change to get this into a sustainable.
Yeah.
I did talk to one of your guys about how thankful he was for the insurance. He had hospitalization and he maybe paid $100. It really saved his family. So I mean, it's one of those things,
Well-
like insurance or not insurance.
So where I came from, we came through to this point also. It was more driven by the state enacting the 3 options of the township board annually voting to not have any copay or any cost for the employee, B 80/20, or C, the hard cap for the community. Meridian Township chose the hard cap. We were $10,000 above the hard cap, and people are like, they didn't know what to do because they can't bear to get away from their insurance. So we got this healthcare coalition. We all sat down, and when we went line by line through what was important to everybody, like, it was surprising, like some of the stuff that were on the plan, no one had ever used and didn't see that they would use it. I would recommend for the people who do use the healthcare that you all get together and do a process like that, find out what's important on those plans. High deductible plans that's what we ended up going with. And the utilization of our insurance dropped significantly when people actually had to pay out of their HSA, even though the township provided all the money in the HSA. When people were like, this is my money, I don't want to spend it. I don't have to go to an urgent care and spend $50 when I go to my own doctor for 20. I can wait till tomorrow morning, or I can take generic medications because it's cheaper and I don't have to spend so much money out of. So it made people be better consumers of their healthcare as well. Having a diabetic child, I was very familiar with all the costs and everything that I would have been familiar with. And we looked at different pharmacies. Like, it's amazing how much different the price of drugs at Walgreens is versus Rite Aid versus like professional pharmacy. You'd think a small pharmacy like professional pharmacy would be more expensive, and it's not. Walgreens is probably the most expensive for insulin and the stuff that we were getting in comparison. So we did a lot of shopping around because it was coming out of our HSA. And that's one of the things that high deductible plans do. But I don't have a dog in the fight other than I'm concerned that it's going to get to a point where we're going to be challenged to have full-time employees if it keeps increasing at 10, 12, 15%. You either have to have much less races and then we won't be competitive and people won't work here, or lesser healthcare coverage. But you can have people making their decision on their healthcare, everything is important. So.
Okay, well, we'll keep that on the radar as far as healthcare. The motion of support is to approve the hiring of 2 full-time paramedic firefighters. Are there any further questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Diane, can you roll call?
Schaefer,
Yes.
Stanton,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Maj.
Yep.
Rarick,
Yes.
Ordway.
Yes.
All right. We're on to letter E, the Rutland Ambulance Service Contract. You have in your packet a copy of the Rutland Service Contract. This means that we will be taking over Rutland Township for emergency services. Chief would like to speak to.
Yeah, actually Eric befriended Marty from Rutland, and he was asking some questions to Eric about our service. Marty is a veterinarian, came over, we showed him our service and talked about how our operations work. I had already pulled their call volume. They transport about 150 calls a year. The vast majority of their call volume is in the northern part of their community, which is closer to us than it is to Hastings, where their ambulance currently comes from. I had already pre-planned out for the southern part with Chief Jordan of Hastings, if it did come to fruition, to make sure that they had timely service down in the southern end. So he asked I think at that meeting, asked me to see what our Irving contract and Yankee Springs contract was. So I just scratched out Yankee Springs and put in Rutland to have, so that their board could have an idea what it is. And I think maybe our attorney looked at it also.
He added a lot of verbiage to it, but didn't change it substantially from what it was.
Yeah, so their board voted to agree to it last Wednesday, and now it's before us to vote on it. The overall impact is less than a call a day, and the overall financial impact would be around 70,000 on the low end of revenues for it. So, like I said earlier, it should be enough to cover the 2 full-time people with insurance that we took, hired 2 full-time people with healthcare.
Okay, so on behalf of entertain a motion to approve the emergency services protection contract between Thornapple Township and Rutland Township.
So moved.
Second.
Motion of support to approve the emergency services protection contract between Thornapple Township and Rutland Township. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Diane, can you roll call?
Campbell,
Yes.
Bouchard.
Yes.
Maj.
Yep.
Rarick,
Yes.
Ordway,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
All right. New business F, that's where we inserted the minutes of the regular meeting of March 10th, 2025. And there was an item in there that
That's what we should. On page 7, we're under committee reports for finance. There's a note on here about all 2024 taxes have been collected. I did not collect all of them. I'm done collecting the 2024 taxes. And then I don't know if we want to put a note there too, but we've turned it all over to the county for all the delinquents over to the county. I just didn't
so
want to
maybe
say
I
it.
could just say,
'Cause I didn't collect all of them.
2020 taxes or 2024 taxes are done being collected.
I just don't want to make it look like I collected everything because I was not able to collect everything.
You collected from those who chose to
I
pay.
tried to collect everything.
Okay, got it, yeah.
So yeah, just send some kind of note there, please.
And what was the other addition that you said?
That was,
That was it.
that was it
The
for that.
2024 taxes are done being collected
Just that we've turned it over to the county.
and you've turned it over to the county. Thank you.
Okay, with that, change to the minutes. I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support. Motion with support to approve the amended minutes of the regular meeting of March 10th, 2025. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So last meeting, I had the minutes out for everybody and the March planning and zoning report. Everyone got to review them, but we never voted as far as if we were, that has to be approved. So I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve the February 19th special meeting minutes that you all got to see last month, but we never voted.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, second.
Motion with support to approve the February 19th special meeting minutes. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the March planning and zoning report, which everyone got to see last month, but again, we didn't vote on it. So I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve the March planning and zoning report. I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion with support to approve the March planning and zoning report. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, something that we missed, but it was posted. But we missed approving our 2025-2026 meeting schedule. And that should have been on the desk in the large packet that I left. I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve our 2025-2026 meeting schedule.
So moved.
Support.
Eric's got it.
Motion with support to approve the 2025-2026 meeting schedule. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, EMC insurance. We went with that policy and we just need approval to continue with it. I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve continuing with EMC insurance.
I make the motion.
And I'll support. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Diane, your roll call.
Stanton,
Yes.
Ordway,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Rarig,
Yes,
Campbell,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Dimash.
Now we're on to letter K, which is our cyber insurance policy, and I just be happy to entertain a motion to approve the continuation of our cyber insurance policy through this Cox.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion with support to continue our cyber insurance policy with Hiscox. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Diane, can you roll call?
Rarick,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Demosh.
Yep.
Stanton,
Yes.
Ordway,
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes. Wow, all right. I thought that was gonna be a train wreck of a business. Anyway, on to number 13, committee reports. Administration. Nothing new there. Cemetery.
Yeah, there's a tree down in
Okay.
there that I noticed when I got back. I don't know, Josh, it snapped off about 8 feet up. And it's all cut up. I don't know if Josh did it or what, but we need to come up with a plan to get that off of there. Get that wood off of out of the cemetery.
The good wood.
Well, I asked Dave if he wanted it and he said, no, it's kind of, no.
I think Bill needs it.
Bill can use it
Not anymore.
for your fire thing.
I took a couple
For
trees
training.
I was like, let's talk about for training.
Oh. Gotta train your people on running chainsaws.
And gathering wood, hunting and gathering wood, right? And also, the ground moles are terrible. And I don't know what we do about those or how we do it. I'm getting complaints from people, so anybody with direction on that, I would appreciate.
I would ask Josh.
Josh,
Josh?
Yeah.
Here? Yeah, I'd ask him. He must have an answer, you think.
you think? All
There's
right,
poison worms are good.
I'm thinking hot lead injection. He up there with 22.
no,
All right.
I love your thinking.
All right, so yeah, I guess maybe call the sexton and see what he suggests. Millville VDA, we had a meeting with the original architect. He he's an older gentleman, but just so much vision for what our downtown could look like. I was very impressed with him. Met with him last Thursday, and he's definitely got a vision of what a look, a continuity between our facades, and trying to develop a plan where we might be able to entice some business owners to look at conforming to the uniform plan for our downtown look. And beyond that, we also are going to be looking at the M37 corridor. I think our first focus is going to be the downtown area, but ultimately, we'd like to look at the M37 corridor and see if we could get some continuity between those businesses too. Beyond that, music series is scheduled to start June 6th, and the Rotary Club of Middleville is this close to getting a year-round food license. So, yeah, that's a good thing. It's gonna save the Rotary Club some money. Quite often in the past, they sell concessions and you'd have to sell a lot of hot dogs to pay for that weekly license you'd have to buy. So that's good news for the DDA, Riverbank Music Series, and Millville Rotary Club. On to elections.
I just have a couple of things. So we're combining with Caledonia Township. Since it's small for us, we have very few voters that it affects, but I wanted to make mention that the public accuracy test for that election is being held in Caledonia at the Caledonia Township Hall on April 28th at 10 a.m. And also any voters that are living in Caledonia Township or Thornapple Town, I'm sorry, that live in Thornapple Township but attend Caledonia schools, they will be voting at the Christian Reformed Church in Caledonia, right on M37. I think it's on the corner of 100th Street
Okay.
and M37.
It is.
And that change is only, of course, for the May 6th election.
So for the accuracy test, do we need to go over there at all, or they're just? Okay. All right. Emergency services.
Well, I got a little thing I'd like to spend here a minute. Because of what I've heard recently on the news, that our nation is in an epidemic of fentanyl overdoses. And my reluctance to believe the news makes me want to ask our emergency service people, how much effect are we actually seeing?
Here, not a lot. Nationwide, there is a lot of opioids. I wouldn't say fentanyl specifically, but there's been 2 or 3 saves in the last year down in the southern part of Berry County. There's like a whole group of people that were using some opioid. They were assuming fentanyl laced stuff, and someone, before they went unconscious, called 911. Multiple ambulances and police cars now have Narcan on them. First responders have Narcan. You can get Narcan like in vending machines now. So I think with the increase of the availability of Narcan, you're seeing a lot less death, but there is still a lot of opioid. Nationwide, I saw a statistic reading through one of the health department emails that I got. They said that actually the numbers are starting to trickle down as of 2023 to 2024. The numbers had starts coming down, but they're pretty high. So I think the death rates are one of the things that's helping the death rates is the availability of Narcan too. I think the opioid problem isn't going away anytime soon, though.
So here's another question then related to that is, would it be recommended that the general public avail themselves to some Narcan?
If they know people or suspect they have people close to them, yeah, it's a good idea to have.
The chances of us just driving down the road and finding somebody that needs a Narcan is unlikely.
Probably not. And I think people who are users of these drugs have now figured out, like, they have it on themselves, and their family and friends, users and non-users alike, know how to administer it now, because it's a nasal spray. So, yeah.
So so where are these vending machines? Where would you get it?
You can go in the city is where you find the vending machines. I don't think there's any in Berry County.
Yeah, there's,
Is there some in Berry County?
so at Pennock Hospital, there's one in the emergency department, there's one in the wellness center. Near the entrance where the gym is in that building. There's at least one vending machine at Berry County Mental Health. Those are the ones I know of in the city of Hastings. They may be elsewhere in the county, but those are the ones I know about. And it's all free.
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 Yeah.
So what do you put in the vending machine to get it stuff to come out?
You just push the button.
There's a button.
Oh, really?
Drops right out for you.
Nice.
Yeah, there's several other things in those vending machines, some feminine products and first aid kits. Keep people safe.
Yeah, since I've been here, I think we've had one opioid overdose since I've been here. So not that often.
Okay. All right. Finance.
No, I think we took care of some today.
Will you collect all the taxes?
I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it now. I'll wait for the poll and I'll say my 2 things.
Okay. Parks and Rec. We're fortunate to have the new chairperson. Or, well,
So we have our kickoff meeting for the 5-year rec plan on Wednesday at the fire station. You got that worked out?
Yeah.
Okay. And Do you want to talk about the trail engineering and design grant? Want me to talk about the trail engineering? and
I would
design grant?
love for you to talk about the trail.
So I attended a Michigan Health Endowment Fund webinar on grant opportunities. And actually, I was looking at other projects for it, but your Thornapple Township Trail corridor really fit their criteria and priorities. And so Eric and I and Friesman and Corhorn put our heads together, and they have you submit a 2-page concept paper. So it's like a grant application light with just some overview of the project and an estimate of what the cost was. And that was received favorably, and they encouraged the township to apply for the full grant. And it really fits like their priority. You see what they've given money for in the past. There's no match requirement. And so we're working to get that application filled out by May 1st. So it's kind of a quick turnaround for the full grant, but and it would cover the engineering and design fees for that Thornapple Township section from Crane Road to Stimson Road, which if anybody's been out there, it's, it's heavily eroded. A lot of the ballast material had been removed, so there's lots of stormwater damage, and then considerations for redesign. So, especially at that Stimson Road intersection. So this would be quite a windfall for the township, and would put you in a really good position to apply for improvement dollars. So cross your fingers and your toes.
Okay. I think that's my phone going off. It's on the charger in my office, so I apologize for that. Also talking with Jason Mills about potentially having him do some trail work out there, keeping, it would be a nice thing to have him stay engaged. He's got all the equipment there, and just, we haven't talked about any kind of a price, but I think it would be, I don't know how much it would be, but it would be a nice thing to have portions of that walkable.
He used to mow and maintain, sort of beat back the sides of the trail between Parmalee and Garbo. And a lot of residents used that for walking. I walked it several times, but since the township purchased it, he hasn't been mowing it or maintaining it. And we all know it only takes a little bit of time for it to creep back in. But it
So
would be really nice.
we haven't sat down and had an actual meeting, but I did talk to him, and he is interested in potentially doing that for us. Personnel and compensation.
What do you look at me with the look?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
Not at this point.
Okay. All right, property and public utilities. Dave?
Nope. I guess the only thing is we're meeting, next week? Talk,
Yeah, next Thursday.
Thursday, talk about the HVAC system, the boiler.
It's from a leak.
What's that?
It did?
Yeah, one of the pipes is leaking. Maybe fixed by next Thursday. We'll see. We'll see if they get to it.
That's all.
Yeah.
All right. Roads and highways.
I don't have much. I've seen a little bit of pothole work being done. Nothing else to comment on.
Is the tour this week?
Oh, yeah, we've got our road
Thursday.
tour
Oh,
Thursday
yeah.
at, I believe, 1 o'clock.
You know what? I don't know if I'm on that.
Yeah, it's at 1 o'clock,
This Thursday?
17th.
I might have begged off on that.
I think I remember I got a response, no, possibly.
Yeah, it's as you did.
Okay,
Yeah.
I actually, it's at 1 o'clock?
Yeah,
Okay. have an appointment scheduled for in town here for 12:45, but I won't be done till 1:15. I'll miss the bus. So, I mean, if they want to wait, I'll jump on, but
Well,
Getting a haircut.
we can bring back whatever.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to hold the ride up, so.
I think they're on a pretty tight schedule. I don't know if there's anybody after us. I could, but I'll ask Jake if he could wait.
Okay.
You think 1:15 would be,
I'd be real close to that.
okay. I'll ask if he can maybe,
I'm gonna add it to my calendar here.
I'm gonna ask him if we could start at 1:20. How's that? Duncan Lake Sewer,
I don't have anything there except to say I did get the minutes from the last meeting sent out to the board, the authority.
Yeah.
Haven't seen any comments back. And the next meeting, we've got to approve
those
those minutes and a couple meetings back. Because I wing it when I don't have an agenda. So, I failed to push in there to get those other two meeting minutes approved in the last meeting, so.
Okay.
Um,
Other than that, I don't think there's anything
No,
substantial out there. We added, some people were, getting by the rocks and boulders and natural things we have out there. And they can't really be accessing that. So Brian went out and drove some posts in to hopefully stop people on their side by sides or whatever it was getting in there. But that has been completed and hopefully the area is 100% secure again. We are on number 14, second public comment period. If anyone in the public would like to speak, all I ask is you try to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Anybody? All right, poll of members. Dave,
I guess I'll just say thoughts and prayers to Sheriff.
I don't even know what, or don't want to say, Sheriff.
his son passed away. So, yeah, very unfortunate. Sandy,
Nothing, I don't know.
glad to have you back.
Yeah. Complete with all my bracing.
Ross,
I got a commitment for Thursday. So don't wait for me.
well, we can hold off to 1:20 maybe.
Yeah, well, save me some cookies if you like, but
All right. All right, Kurt,
welcome back, Sandy.
Thank you, Kurt.
That's all I've got right now.
Laura,
All right, now I just have two little things. So for the 2024 tax year, the delinquency rate was almost 1% higher than it usually is. I know we had one company that owns a few properties in the village that their check got lost, but it's still, we're almost to 3% delinquency. Last year, we were at 1.9. So I just wanted to mention that. And then also, now that we're done with the last fiscal year, changing our banking around and came up with some new contracts and agreements. We had 93,000 in interest.
wow,
We had 28,000 the year before.
Yeah, that's huge.
So, we made a move of moving our general funds and everything over to Consumers Credit Union, which will give us a higher interest rate and also, interest on our checking and avoiding all the fees that we were paying. So, but I was just excited about the interest amount.
wow.
So we'll see what we get this next year, but
All right. Cindy.
I don't have anything further.
Okay. Welcome back, Sandy. We're glad to have you here. MTA conference, I think, was successful and learned quite a bit. And again, prayers to Sheriff Lee. And with that, I would be happy to entertain a moment or a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion with support to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:15.
Night, everyone.
Okay.
Take care.